Here are the stories we're covering this week in the Category 5.tv newsroom. Chipotle Mexican Grill has been leaving money on the table thanks to an apparent bug in the restaurant chain's e-commerce operation. Payment card thieves have hacked the click-to-gov bill-paying portals in 8 cities. The German Ministry of the Interior wants to take back control of their digital sovereignty, cutting dependency on Microsoft and looking for alternatives. And an anonymous bug hunter has publicly disclosed a 0-day flaw in the popular vBulletin forum software that can be exploited over the internet to hijack servers. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Category 5.tv newsroom, covering the week's top tech stories with a slight Linux bias.
I'm Sasha Rickman, and here are the top stories we're following this week. Chipotle Mexican Grill has been leaving money on the table thanks to an apparent bug in the restaurant chain's e-commerce operation. Last week, Jason Grigsby, co-founder of app development from Cloud4, published his analysis of the eatery's online order form. The web page code, he claims, contains an error that he estimates is costing the company millions in lost sales. While attempting to submit an order, Grigsby encountered 2 error messages, one indicating that the website had been unable to save his credit card number, despite having not checked the box to allow this, and the other being a general submission error. The errors happened every time he tried to use his browser's autofill capability, but not when the data was entered manually. Upon further scrutiny, he noticed that his credit card's expiration date kept being changed after the date was filled in. Based on Chipotle's publicly reported average order value of $16 to $17, and assuming that fixing autofill would increase transactions by 0.5 percentage point, Grigsby estimates that Chipotle could clear an extra $4.4 million in sales annually by eliminating this bug. While he regularly sees problems with autofill on sites, Grigsby says, quote, Chipotle was just a useful example I encountered, and unlike most companies, they happen to have provided some information in their financial reports that made it possible to take a guess, albeit a wild guess, at what the financial impact might be, end quote.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm a programmer, so I understand how these kinds of accidental issues can crop up.
Yes.
Because we can't test everything, right?
Sure.
So if I create a form to autofill and it's taking the date of the credit card expiry and it doesn't have proper error handling, well, that can cause problems with autofill.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. Some weird things.
From a programming standpoint, I mean, whoever created that portion of the Chipotle website more than likely did it on a business computer, so the likelihood that they're going to have an autofill of their credit card information isn't very high, so they may not have even have clued into the fact that that's something they should have tested.
Yeah.
Well, and you've got to sandbox everything, and you got to try everything, and like I do online e-commerce sales all the time, and like I try to guess at what a user may encounter, but I still get a call once in a while saying I can't fill in the form for some reason.
Right.
And then I have to look into it.
Yeah, when I click autofill on some things, it's wonky.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just is.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Some websites are. The good thing about this is this guy is now going to get free Chipotle for the rest of his life.
Yes. Oh.
So, but it is interesting that from a business standpoint, just a small error like that is potentially costing them millions of dollars a year.
Could be.
A year. And it makes you wonder, could this be a learning opportunity for other e-commerce businesses to go, we need to take a look at our programming again, because maybe we're missing out on big money. Like, imagine if Amazon had a flaw like this that popped up every once in a while.
Yeah.
How much money they would lose.
Right. See, the difference really would be in that if I wanted to buy something on Amazon, I would find a way to do it. But if I was hungry for a meal and Chipotle was causing a little bit of friction,
you go somewhere else.
I would go somewhere else fast and easy.
Right.
Right? So maybe Amazon wouldn't lose out on the sale because people would, why isn't this filling in? I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
And Amazon has pretty much figured out the process because everything's memorized. Anyways, I just click buy and it knows everything
buy
about
with one click.
me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's interesting.
Yeah, there's tons of money that Chipotle is probably losing out on because people who are hungry probably now are going to order from, like, I don't know, Pizza Hut or something.
As the researcher mentioned, though, it's just one example of a potential issue, and he's been able to exploit it and demonstrate it, and kind of reverse engineer it enough to understand what's causing the problem. But as a consumer myself, like, is it my responsibility to maybe, like, hey, pick up the phone and call Chipotle? And say, like, hey, I'm trying to place an order here. And you're probably not going to reach the web developer. You're going to reach the guy or gal who's making the burritos.
And they're going to be like, okay, I don't know what happened.
I don't know, but I'll take the order of the phone. I mean, I had it happen where I was ordering from Papa John's, and the stupid website couldn't take my order because Becca doesn't eat cheese, and it's not an option. And it's like,
cheese is not an option?
No. Well, I'm not even going to get into it, but no, the particular option that we needed was not compatible with the ordering process. So, because I do eat cheese and I eat meat as well, so it's like a half and half thing.
Yes.
So let's leave it at that. So I placed an order as best as I could with the confines that they offer, and then I phoned them and I said, look, that order that just came in, here's what's different about that.
Fair.
Half of that pizza is no cheese.
That's right.
Right? So it's just like, maybe that's our responsibility to just kind of let them know, and hopefully they'll fix it.
And to be honest with you, I have had such success anytime I've picked up the phone to call any company for any reason at all.
Big companies are tough.
Right.
Like, I work for a small company, so if you called me up and said your web form is not processing my order properly, I'll say, okay, one, let's try to get to the bottom of that, because I'd love to fix it for you, but also, like, let's take the order over the phone. I'm going to help you with that and get it straightened out for you. But if you have time, let's walk through it on your computer as well, because I'd love to fix it. But I'm the guy who's programming it. So that's a good opportunity for me. When you call Chipotle or Papa John's or whoever you're calling, Amazon, like, you're not talking to the person who's going to fix the bug. Yeah. Good luck,
now,
right?
But with this story, though, like, it's a programmer who's noticed this flaw.
Sorry, your mic just dropped out. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, it's a programmer who noticed this flaw. Would the average Joe Public notice a flaw like this?
Yes.
Well, they'd just be like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know what the cause.
They would say it doesn't work, as opposed to, ooh, there's something wrong with the programming. They just go,
They might even think it's something wrong with their computer.
Sure, exactly. And so they may not even
turn it off and on again.
The phone and call.
Yeah. Who knows,
That's interesting, though.
Yeah.
Now I am hungry.
Oh,
Profits are
man,
coming your way,
so hungry now. So hungry now.
I am too.
Payment card thieves have hacked the Click2Gov bill paying portals in 8 cities. In 2017 and 2018, hackers compromised systems running the Click2Gov self-service bill payment portal in dozens of cities across the United States, a feat that compromised 300,000 payment cards and generated nearly $2 million in illicit revenue. Now, Click2Gov systems have been hit by a second wave of attacks that's dumping tens of thousands of records onto the dark web. Researchers with security firm Gemini Advisory said late last week that the new round of attacks began in August and have so far hit systems in 8 cities, 6 of which were compromised in the previous episode. Many of the hacked portals were running fully up-to-date systems, which raises questions about precisely how the attackers were able to breach them. Click2Gov is used by utilities, municipalities, and community development organizations to pay bills and parking tickets, as well as make other kinds of transactions. While the breaches affect 8 cities located in 5 states, payment cards belong to people in all 50 states have been compromised. Some of the cardholders didn't live in the cities that were affected, but transacted with the breached portals, possibly because of past travels to those cities or because holders owned property there. The cities with hacked portals are Bakersfield in California, Pocatello in Idaho, Broken Arrow in Oklahoma, Ames in Indiana, and in Florida, Deerfield Beach, Palm Bay, Milton, and Coral Springs have all been impacted. People who have made transactions to Click2Gov systems should check their payment card statements regularly over the next few weeks.
Okay. Wow. We want to trust these payment processors.
Yeah, we want to trust them.
That's tough.
What's interesting about this one, though, is the fact that it was on completely up-to-date systems. How does, like, you're a programmer, I'm not. I'm just, Joe Blow who likes Linux. how does that happen when you've got an up-to-date system
Sure.
that they can still get that exploit? Does it really mean that it's not fully up to date?
Not necessarily. I mean, there are exploits that are maybe not revealed in the wild, right?
Right, okay.
Before Eternal Blue was publicly known, it existed. The
That's
NSA
true.
used it.
That's true.
So those exploits existed. They just weren't public knowledge.
Right.
So that's an exploit. But this, to me, as the programmer, would point to malicious staff.
Right.
Quite possibly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right? A device on the network that's man in the middle.
Oh.
Something like that could be the case as well.
You'd be so stuck if you got a parking ticket in Florida on
Sure,
vacation and you're back here. The only way you could really pay that ticket is on the Click2Gov website.
And they really force your hand. I mean, my kids are in school, in the public school system, and the only way you can order pizza on Pizza Day now, you can't send an envelope with cash like they did when we
I
were
know,
kids.
you got to
right?
do it online.
You got to do it online. And the portal is how good, Jeff?
I don't know, my wife does it.
It's trash.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, sorry to the programmers, but it was probably developed 5-7 years ago and is still in the state that it was then and hasn't been updated since because it's government
good
funded
enough.
and
Yeah.
it works. No, it's garbage and shouldn't be trusted. But so I feel like, okay, this could easily be exploited, I'm sure.
Right.
Who knows, right?
So then what? You have one credit card that you keep at a very low balance for things that you think are dodgy, which is
Hey, there's a neat idea.
Like,
use a refillable credit card from like a Shoppers Drug Mart or
just
something like that.
Super cheapy throwaway credit card
Yeah.
for almost everything online.
That's a good idea.
That's
Yeah.
one way to do it. I mean, it doesn't
I mean-
fix the general problem.
It doesn't.
It's a
fix-
safety measure. on
It
a
protects you.
personal
The
level,
problem
yeah.
still exists, but now I'm not being impacted. It means that
Sure.
Yeah.
But how do you know when and who is going to be compromised?
almost everybody is. Almost everybody.
So if I'm going to order online, I can go to the local store where they sell like a $50 or $100 Visa card that I prepay, and then I can use that to make my purchases, and I don't have to worry about identity theft or credit card theft.
right.
Because presumably I'm just going to spend everything on that card.
Right, exactly.
If you have a $50 parking ticket from Florida or,
Yeah.
Bakersfield, then go buy a prepaid credit card and pay your parking ticket with that. That's it.
No, not necessarily directly related to the theme of this news story, but
Okay.
I feel like the last year we've seen a lot of exploits that have impacted government agencies. And we've talked a lot about on the news that quite often government just doesn't have the money to have the latest and greatest stuff. With an expanding digital economy and with an ever increasing number of technological people, are we going to see a rise in this kind of story where exploits and bugs in the system that we just didn't know were there, more people are going to find, and it's going to get used maliciously? Or do you think at some point society is going to say enough is enough, and there's going to be enough good people rising up to say, I've hacked this, I found the problem, it's not exploited anymore. Here you go, government, I fixed your issue.
Oh, wouldn't that be
It would
nice?
be nice if all the hackers were good. First of all, technological. That I want to be a word now. Okay, we're gonna make
Add
that into
that.
one word.
Technological.
Hyphen knowledgeable.
No, just technological.
Technological.
That's one word. Yeah, that's ours. It's going to be on a T-shirt in a week. I think what it really can come down to, Jeff, is budgets, and it costs probably more to security audit your software than to develop the software.
Budgets and awareness. Because I know that there is a
Yeah.
company in Barrie that was just hit, and it's a company that has a lot of money in their budget. They just obviously
Didn't
didn't
think of it.
have the foresight,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Never going to happen to me.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough. And I know as a programmer that there's often not the budget to.
Right.
And I put my foot down and I do things right, and so I lose contracts sometimes because I do say, look, it's going to cost X number of dollars.
Yeah.
Because I work into my development that I need to make sure. I've done e-commerce solutions where they wanted to be able to store credit card data and stuff, and it's like, you know what? If you're going to do that, that just added $10,000, $15,000 to the price just to audit it and to make sure that everything is irreversibly encrypted in a way that it cannot be compromised, and if it is, the data can't be retrieved.
Right.
Those are very important things. But a lot of companies, they have a set budget and they say, okay, well, we're going to get this done. Let's make it happen. Here are the features. We are paying for these features. We are not paying for you to dilly-dally. And why? No, seriously. Why is that going to take 30 hours?
Right.
That's the question that I get, that programmers get. And the problem is that some programmers will say, you know what, well, if we just do this, we can do it for less.
See, and I feel like that's just making society vulnerable.
Oh, it is. That's why there's the rise in these compromising attacks, Jeff. And guess who is the target?
I am so thankful that you have stayed so honest and upfront about protecting people that you work with. Like, you're not going to let it slide. It's really good. There needs to be more of you.
That's why he's the number one bald nerd.
That's right.
That's it. I hope that I always do the right thing. All right, jumping over to our next story.
Oh, actually, Robbie, we have to take a quick break first. The crypto reports and more of this week's top tech stories are coming up. Don't go anywhere. The German Ministry of the Interior wants to take back control of their digital sovereignty, cutting dependency on Microsoft and looking for alternatives. I'll call the Federal Ministry of the Interior BMI from here due to the German name of those letters, which I won't attempt to pronounce. The headline comes from an official statement where the Federal Ministry of the Interior, Horst Seehofer, states that, quote, in order to ensure our digital sovereignty, we want to reduce dependencies on individual IT providers. We are also considering alternative programs to replace certain software. This will be done in close coordination with other EU countries, end quote. BMI commissioned a strategic market analysis from consultants PwC, resulting in a paper that was published last month. The paper examines the risks inherent in IT dependency on commercial software vendors, with a particular focus on Microsoft because of the heavy use of its products and the way that they are interconnected, especially Microsoft Office, Windows, Windows Server, and Office 365. Oracle and SAP also get a mention with a recommendation for future examination, though PwC's analysts seem less concerned about them because they occupy individual product segments, database, and ERP rather than being pervasive. The current trend toward integrated cloud-based offerings such as Office 365, Dynamics 365, and AI-driven applications on Azure give the customer enhanced value but also increases lock-in because the added value comes from using them together. The analyst identifies several pain points. The first is data security. Telemetry transfers data to Microsoft. The user has limited insight and control over this, and it may contain personal data, and the report warns that this raises concerns surrounding GDPR. In addition, dependence on cloud services raises the risk of outages or remote deactivation of software licenses. The report also adds that subscription pricing means the potential for uncontrollable costs. It suggests that Microsoft has the power to hoist prices or change the licensing rules. There is also an intriguing claim that using cloud services may reduce in-house IT competence because the need to support on-premises software is reduced and therefore threaten the federal administration's ability to innovate. Beyond diversifying their software by breaking it up amongst several vendors or negotiating to have control over telemetry data, their recommendation is clear: build and use more open source software. The report references several examples, including Munich's largely failed attempt to replace Windows and Office with Linux and OpenOffice subsequently reversed, and the more successful efforts of the French police force to use Linux, LibreOffice, and other open source applications. The report suggests that it is easy to identify advantages in switching away from expensive proprietary software, but often hard to accomplish. They say to be realistic, ensure user acceptance, do the necessary training, and proceed step by step.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
It is. This is an interesting story, though. And the reason I find it interesting is because there's a growing number of countries that are ditching Microsoft. And as I'm listening to you give the story, I'm thinking Microsoft has to be worried. They should be worried because it's not like a company goes, "Oh, we're switching to Linux." You're losing countries. That's a big deal.
It's interesting, though, because they're centralizing all of their products into the cloud.
Yes.
And they must realize that, okay, well, we're dealing with foreign countries. And if I was a foreign country, I wouldn't want all of that control in an American company.
Yeah.
Right. And we're talking like, and when you're talking about these things being tied in together, it's like, yeah, you actually have to have this, this, and this in order to have this feature. No, I just want that feature.
No.
I just want to be able to video conference.
Sorry.
Well, I need Microsoft Teams now because Skype is dead. But in order to have Microsoft Teams, I need to have Office 365. And in order...
Yeah.
So this is the tie-in, and this is what could...
What worries me, though, is they're looking at the cloud.
Yeah.
As a country, would that not be a potential security risk by having your country's data hosted potentially out of country or on a private business server that you have no control of? Like, imagine if, say, we're in Ontario, the city of Toronto. Say they decided to move entirely cloud-based, and all of their financial records, everything went to the cloud, and suddenly the company gets bought out by a multinational that goes, "Screw you, we've got all your data. Take us to court for it." Like,
Wow,
I don't know if a country should be going that. Like, if you're going to go cloud-based, do it in internal cloud that you own.
Yeah. It's really, really tough. I mean, this is the dilemma that we're all up against. Every business is up against this. Where do I put my offsite backup?
Yeah.
And this is why I lean toward offering, as an IT specialist, offering cloud-based services that are hosted here in Canada.
Yeah.
Because Canadian companies want encrypted data in Canada because of our privacy laws.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And we don't want them to be hosted in the States here from here in Canada. We don't want them to be hosted in overseas. And similarly, I would expect Germany probably doesn't want all of their stuff, as you're saying, to be hosted on American servers or possibly random locations because, Microsoft has co-location facilities all over the world.
Yeah. No.
I like how other countries talk about Linux so much.
It's the out. It's like this is our redeemer as
Yeah.
far as software
It seems to be Europe.
tie-ins go.
Europe does it. Why aren't they talking about it again?
Because Canonical is in the UK, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I guess, yeah.
But it's growing, right? Like, it's commonplace. People know it by name, and people who aren't tech-minded know Linux. You say it, they
Sure.
don't say what.
But there's still that.
They still say, "Oh, that's
well, that's
hard."
scary.
Yeah.
And this is what happened in Munich, where maybe this is a case. I don't really know, but here's a scenario. We talked about software and why do people still get compromised? Well, what if we took a country or a city and we decided to let's switch everybody to Linux, but then let's not budget to support those users. It's really crucial that we're providing high-level support because if I take away your Microsoft Office and put you on OpenOffice, not even LibreOffice, but OpenOffice,
It's
right?
Yeah.
You're going to have trouble.
Yeah.
Especially when you send an ODT file to your friend who has Microsoft Word.
They can't open a thing.
Yeah. But with proper, adequate support, and I mean like pay somebody to do proper support of these free software products. So take those savings and invest it in training and support. Would that not make the difference?
Potentially.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't think that way. They look for how do we switch our software? And they don't.
How do we save money?
Yeah.
Oh, well, cut Microsoft. But see, this is the thing. I, as a professional in the IT field, have to put my foot down and say, you're not going to have that web service unless we invest in the security end of it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to switch to LibreOffice or Linux or OpenOffice unless you invest in the support to support your users. Because otherwise, it's just going to backfire. Mm-hmm. So, let's put the money in the right place. It's got to happen that way.
It's happening. It's just, stories like this make me happy because it means that people are looking in the right direction.
Yes. See, I'm thinking Munich, but no, we're thinking Germany, and this is the direction that we're going.
Yeah. Yes.
So I hope if anyone from that government is listening, hey, here's what you need to do. Invest in the support of that free software. The software is free. It's going to save you money. So invest in the support, and this goes for your company. This goes for for anyone who's thinking about switching to open technology.
I really hope Cat 5 shows up on a government report in Germany that says, yes, we got the proper advice.
That was this bald nerd said this. That's a terrible accent. I don't even know where I was from. Oh yeah, the IT guy is French. I don't know. I'm Canadian. We have English and French, and I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
Definitely not German. An anonymous bug hunter has publicly disclosed a zero-day flaw in the popular vBulletin forum software that can be exploited over the internet to hijack servers. A simple HTTP post request can be abused by an attacker to remotely execute commands on the targeted vBulletin server without any authentication. That would allow hackers to commandeer web servers powering the forum software, steal data, tamper with information, launch assaults on other systems, and so on. It can be done in fewer than 20 lines of Python code. This is a very, very bad thing. The zero-day exploit code is verified to work against supported versions of vBulletin from 5.0.0 to the latest 5.5.4 build. And there is no known patch available. And the creators of vBulletin have yet to comment on when one might be released. Meanwhile, security professionals are marveling at the simplicity of the exploit and the extent to which vulnerable boards can be owned by the attack. vBulletin's customer base includes a number of large companies, sports teams, and entertainment groups that are now exposed until such time as the developer can figure out a fix, and that's assuming their server admins are on top of patching. Websites running vBulletin version 5, first released in 2012, are advised to keep a close eye on their servers and make sure nobody is attempting to exploit the vulnerability and use it as a springboard for further attacks. Better yet, maybe just pull the plug completely until a fix is released or some type of mitigation is available.
By mitigation, I'm thinking maybe if you're wise to the methodology that they're using to exploit vBulletin, you could create an htaccess rule, for example, that would monitor for a particular string and redirect to a file, and that file logs the IP address of the user, and then you use maybe CSF to config secure firewall to block that IP address in your firewall, for example, right? So mitigation could take place if you know the string that they're using. And I do this with WordPress all the time. So I watch for injection attacks and things like that. And if they happen, or somebody hitting wp-login.php, well, if it's not coming from my IP address, it's a malicious user because they're trying to access the WordPress login form. And so I just, I can block their IP address based on that, right? So, but yeah, scary stuff, man. Imagine if you've got this service running on your web server and a hacker, an attacker, like a script kiddie, this is anybody that knows about this exploit can just run anything on your server with a couple of lines of code.
Yeah.
As easy as just a post request.
Now, I mean, Sasha, you said that we were talking sports teams as well have this on their websites.
Yeah.
Do they take their sites down?
You kind of have to if you don't. This again comes down to like we build a website and we don't have anyone actually actively supporting it. This is the fear is that, well, you mentioned, well, if your team is up on all the patches, then watch for the patch. But what if you have a vBulletin website and a forum and you don't have an active team monitoring and maintaining that website, which is very often the case with these kinds of sites,
Right.
sports teams included. Yeah.
I hope that they step up and really figure it out.
Yeah. So what can this kind of exploit do? Well, my forum isn't really all that important. So I mean, if they hack it, whatever.
Except that can't they just get in using that
Yeah.
and then yeah.
How does ransomware spread?
Yeah.
So, through we just need an in. We just need a way into your network. So if I have a server running this and it's on my network, then they can use that to now encrypt all the files on your other computers, okay? If it's not on your network and it's just a hosted service somewhere, maybe you're using like a co-located server or something, well, the data can be stolen. All the data, all the logins, all the credit card information of the people that are signed up to your sports teams, and anything that's on the server can be taken or encrypted and used as ransom.
And if they don't have any like hashing on passwords and stuff like that, like
Which some of these old software
Probably
programs don't. Yeah. Like MD5.
yeah, exactly. Like I mean, the fact that some of the versions go back to 2012. Like I'm thinking, how many people are still running a site, a little
Sure.
company site that they put up,
Yeah.
5-6 years ago,
And if it's active,
and
they can't just replace it. They've
Well,
got
exactly.
1,000 users.
Exactly. So now, like, you're potentially giving up all their unhashed passwords.
Oh my.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
This is just bad news waiting to happen.
Yeah, so if you're using vBulletin 5, any line of vBulletin 5, please, just, remove it from your server, turn off that website, whatever you need to do for now, until there is a report from the vBulletin developers that, hey, they're doing something and it's patched or fixed and you can actually patch it. We've got to quickly take a look at the CoinGecko crypto market report. Now, we didn't do one last week because we had a down week because of the transition from Season 12 to Season 13. And so this is, over the past 2 weeks, we've seen pretty much everything drop.
Right.
Now, there is one coin that is holding steady.
Oh.
And that is Facebook Libra.
Yes.
Still zero. But here's what the market looked like. At 1800 hours Eastern Time on Wednesday, September 25th, 2019, Bitcoin dropped almost $2,000 in the past 2 weeks. $8,623.87 is where it's holding as of this recording. Litecoin is down to $57.99 US. Ethereum is not dropping too much, only a couple of bucks, but $172.23 US. Monero is down to $60.46. I don't know what causes things to go up and down. That's what's interesting about the cryptocurrency market. You never really know what's going to happen, so hey, be careful. Scala, previously known as Torque or Stellite, is cut in half. So where it was 0.66 ten-thousandths of a cent, it is now 0.33.
They should just
in
revert
just 2 weeks.
back to the name that they were the strongest.
Yeah, maybe they just need to
Torque?
rename their coin.
I was going to say, we did talk about that a couple of weeks ago.
I wondered if
switching their names is probably ruining some
faith
Some of their street
in the
cred.
coin.
I mean, and I think
Sure.
you're seeing it.
I think so. Turtle coin is also losing, though, Jeff. It's down to 0.24 ten-thousandths of a cent.
That's a big drop.
Not as much. I mean, it was 0.39 2 weeks ago, but it's still sizable.
That's like, what, 40%?
That's 0.15 ten-thousandths of a cent is the drop. So
Don't worry, Turtle Coin.
Yeah,
Everybody's
33.
down right now.
yeah, everything's going down. So really the point when you see the trend like that over the past 2 weeks is just to remember that if you're going to invest, if you're going to crypto mine, if you're going to be a part of the cryptocurrency marketplace, just make sure that you only invest what you can afford to lose, because there is a very high potential that you could lose, but there's still a potential that you could gain as well. So just make sure that you know that it is volatile. It's very dangerous to invest in. So don't invest if you can't afford to lose it. And just remember that it's always changing. It never closes, so 24/7 the market goes up and down, and you have no way to really tell
Yeah.
exactly what's going on. Yeah.
Big thanks to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us this week. Thanks for watching the Category 5.tv newsroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your tech news with a slight Linux bias. And for more free content, be sure to check out our website. From the Category 5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Rickman.
And I'm Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Jeff Weston.